Well, thanks for everybody for joining us this morning. It's good to see everybody. I'm glad that we are getting into smaller groups because I feel like the conversation can be a little bit more intimate and we can kind of flow back and forth with questions. I thought I would start us off this morning the same way that I started out our community meeting yesterday. So, as many of you know, but some of you may not, we do a whole school community meeting on Mondays, and then we do a middle school meeting on Wednesdays, and then we do a high school meeting on Fridays. And so, for the whole school, we're still doing Zoom. And then for middle school and high school, we're gathering in outdoor spaces since those groups are a little bit smaller and doing social distancing and doing them in person. So what I did yesterday is, well, I'm just going to do it. So I welcome, good morning, everybody. It's a good to see you. It's going to be a great week. I want to start out this morning by highlighting our football team. I saw many of you out at the football game on Saturday, which was great to see so many people cheering our team on. And to me, our football team had a win this weekend. Although they may not have won in points, they won in terms of their grit, their resilience, and their determination. The final score of the game was 50-46. And had we had about 2 more minutes in that game, I believe we would have been the winners. They were playing their hearts out in 90-degree weather, and they never gave in. So if you were at the game, you saw that grit and determination, and they came back after a pretty significant deficit at halftime, almost to win the game. So really proud of the team. Equally proud of our cheerleaders. Our cheer team on Friday not only decorated and gave us some school spirit by decorating the football team's lockers, but they also were out, and those of you that have seen our field, we have no shade on our field. So they also were out in the 90-degree weather, cheering their hearts out, and they were there to support the team along the way. So it was just a really fabulous community spirit, and both cheer and football did an amazing job. I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and I want to talk about belonging versus fitting in. So one of the things that a lot of I've done a lot of work around identity and different things. And when I think about our community, I think about a community where we care about people belonging. So belonging is being accepted for you, so who you are. And fitting in is being accepted for being like everyone else. So having to kind of conform to the group. Um, and I'll break here, parents, because I had a graphic that I shared with the students at that point, and it's a graphic. It's one of my favorite ones, and it has like a circle, and the first circle is a bunch of dots, white dots in the middle, and there's some colorful dots on the outside, and that's a visual of exclusion when you don't fit into the group. And the next one is where you have all the white dots, and the colored dots are in the circle, but they're all together. And that's really fitting in, where it's like you get to go into the group, but you all have to kind of conform and conform to that. And then the final circle, all the dots are all the different colors, and everybody's a different color. And that's belonging, where you can be in the circle and you can be who you are. So I just kind of wanted to start the week off with the students, just talking about belonging and fitting in. And I ended the meeting by saying to them, I'm here. One of the things that drew me into this community when I came as a candidate for the head of schools was that as I was talking to the different groups, I saw a lot of different diversity. Like I saw racial diversity, there was obvious social economic diversity, gender diversity, culture diversity. I mean, there's just so much diversity. And what I could really tell by seeing all that diversity and interacting with everyone was that this was a place that really cared about belonging, which is something that I care about as well. And so that's why I'm really excited to be a member of the community. So that's what we did in a morning meeting yesterday. It was really fun. And of course, there are a bunch of announcements in between all of my talking to the kids. And now I'm going to switch gears with all of you. And before we go into, there were some questions that were asked. I'm just going to talk a little bit about COVID testing, because our first school-wide COVID testing is happening tomorrow. And our schedule has been a little bit bumpy because we're working with a testing company and we're also working with targets that change. So if you have a student athlete, the new information comes out each week on what we need to do about testing athletes, how soon before competitions, what you do if an athlete's vaccinated versus unvaccinated. And we're constantly having to call the company and adjust things. So as of now, and again, I always will say this could change. As of now, student athletes will test either Mondays and Wednesdays, depending on their competition, or Mondays and Thursdays. So they have to test twice a week. And then everybody else is testing on Wednesday, the whole school. We have a schedule from 9:30 to 1:30 that we're getting everybody through the testing. Please, if you're watching this video or if you're here live and you have not signed your student up for testing, you need to. We fully expect tomorrow, our first day of testing, it's going to be longer because we'll have some students that aren't signed up and different things like that. You should have gotten emails requesting or giving you information on how to sign up. But of course, if for some reason you're hearing this and you're like, I don't know what to do, you can email any of the administrators, or you can email Miss Alcott in the front office, or come in and we'll let you know what to do. But actually you can't come into the front office. I'm going to back that up. You can come to the gates and call us and we'll tell you what to do, because we're not letting people on campus. Whew. So I just threw a lot at everyone. Are there any questions, comments, or anything about all the stuff I just shared with you? If not, we have some questions. Oh. Yeah, Carrie Gonzalez is asking if there's a way to check if we did sign up. Do you know, Sue, the answer to that?
I don't know the answer to that, Carrie. I just asked, though, COVID testing today for a list of all of our students and employees just to see who is signed up. So I think we will know that. We just don't know it at the very moment. You should have an email that says, thank you for registering COVID testing today, with the information, your registration information. So you might want to just check in your inbox.
And I'm seeing a question on saying, just to clarify, do we need to sign up each week for testing? The answer is no. You may get an email asking you to set up an appointment, but what we're talking about when I say sign up is you actually have to sign up. And if you have insurance, you have to put your insurance information in. If you don't have insurance, that's also fine. They have ways to make sure that you will get tested. And yes, we will help the kids remember the appointment times, because they're going to be going with teaching staff or with a member of staff, and it'll be the same time each week. And if we have students that are out on Wednesday, because we do have an athlete testing window on Thursday, we'll be able to catch them on Thursdays. So we'll know if they're not tested. These are great questions. I'm so glad we have the live parents here today.
You only have to register once. You only have to put your insurance in once. That only happens one time.
Yeah. Great. Well, I'm going to move us into the questions, and some of these are not for me. So I'm so happy that Ms. Stroud is with us here today. She'll be with us in all of our coffees. And so Jen, I am just going to ask you these questions if it's okay, unless do you have them open? Just let me ask them.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the first question is, do you have a firm no phone policy for middle school students during class and campus? As I'm concerned about them using their phone during recess or lunchtime instead of playing and being active at the field or court. Do you also provide sensory equipment for them to play during their break? Are they allowed to be playing at the court or field? Can we have healthier snack option from the vending machine? So phone policy, whether or not there's sensory equipment, and healthy snack options.
That's a doozy. Yes, middle school does have a no phone policy. So advisors collect all middle school phones, middle schoolers' phones at the beginning of the day during advisory, and then they get them back at the end of the day. So they shouldn't have them at all during the day. That's break and lunch included. If they do need to call home, we get them in the habit of coming either to the office or going to their advisory to use one of the school phones to call home. And there is sensory equipment. So, and sort of kids are allowed to use the court, the field. They really have access to kind of everywhere on campus, except for the West Wing, in which Reach has created a COVID bubble because they have elementary age kids there. So they really have a free reign of kind of the rest of the campus. That includes the field and the basketball court. And then for the, I would love healthier snacks in the vending machine, as that is, one of our pillars is healthy body. Unfortunately, we contract out with the vending machine company, and we've requested on numerous occasions, that they stock healthier snacks, but that's like an outside contract that we have. We don't have as much control over as we would like to. So unfortunately, their kids do have access to some type of snacks that may have higher sugar content than we might all want.
Thanks, Jen. Sue, I think this question may be for you, so get ready. It sounds like the line to pick up choice lunch is quite long. On Friday, my daughter was toward the end of the line and said she only had about 10 minutes left to eat. Is there a way to speed up the process? Maybe more people handing them out or having them ready on a table for students to just grab and go?
Really good question. Was out there yesterday trying to figure out the system. It's new to all of us, and we were much quicker yesterday. I'm not sure if that parent heard back from their child. And then today we have an even better system. So I think each day we're getting a little bit better. We totally recognize the line is long and that it takes a while, but we're on it. And we have a lot of administrators out there trying to get this to be much quicker. So bear with us, maybe a little bit longer, but I'm determined to make this a good experience for everybody. And the kids seem to really like the food. And we, talk to them while they're in line, and hopefully we'll get that really, really down, that wait time.
Thanks, Sue. Jen, I think back to you. What were the driving factors in switching back to a rolling block schedule? Is there a possibility that the school will return to a standard block format?
Yeah, so initially, traditionally we've had a rolling block schedule because we recognize that not everyone learns best at the same times of day. So we have created a staggered block to kind of hit multiple times a day. We moved to standardizing that block schedule to have reoccurring blocks at the same time last year because, we thought that a hybrid model would be a strong possibility last year, and it was, and so that served our purpose for last year. And then we revisited this again this year. But I will say that some kids also learn with consistent blocks that meet at consistent times, like knowing that you consistently have math in the morning, that also supports student learning. So I would say, yes, the schedule and schedule changes, those are discussions that we have as a faculty and in academic leadership very regularly. So there is a possibility that the schedule will change next year, but we'll be in communication with that. And that usually, those decisions usually get made towards the spring.
There's some questions in the chat, and one of them says, will the school be providing or offering any SAT, ACT prep for students this year? I too could nod my head. I know a little bit about this, but I'm going to let you answer that, Jen.
Yeah, the school does offer SAT and ACT prep. So kind of at first what we do is a diagnostic. So the students take a diagnostic to see which test they may perform better in and then focus their energy. So that might be the ACT and that might be the SAT. And then we've contracted with Dove's SAT and ACT prep for numerous years. So we've been working with them for quite some time, and they'll be offering prep classes for students as well. That information can be found in the academic calendar. So you can kind of look at all of the standardized testing dates, including the diagnostic date, when the PSAT is, when the ACT is, all of those things are in the yearly academic calendar.
Thanks. And then again, I think this one's to you. Will middle school students return to having outdoor cooking classes and or garden time this year?
So as I mentioned before, Reach Elementary is up in the West Wing. So that area, we're kind of keeping Reach students within a bubble. So we're trying to mitigate any cross-pollination between RHP and Renaissance students and Reach students because of their age and their inability to be vaccinated. So we're really keeping and protecting that area. And that includes the outdoor garden up there and the outdoor kitchen. So unfortunately, this year, we're not offering any clubs to do any gardening up there and or cooking. But we hope in the future that can be, some auxiliary programming for students across the whole campus.
Do you think it would be fair to say if we, as COVID, things shift and change, because as we know, it's unpredictable, and hopefully some of the unpredictability will be that it goes down again, that we would open that space up to our middle school students and our high school students, right? Yeah, I see Ms. Stroud nodding her head. Here's another question. Can you talk about community service for middle school kids? What is expected of them and how many hours are they required to fulfill for the year?
So community service, we have paused the requirement for this year because of COVID and the potential exposures that may happen outside of school. So it is still highly recommended. Middle school students typically have a little bit harder of a time finding community service hours sometimes because outside agencies sometimes have like an age requirement. We do have a couple community service opportunities for middle school and high school students here on campus. There's the Blue Butterfly Preserve that is being run this year, and the maintenance of the Blue Butterfly Preserve, which is kind of connected to our campus, is being run by our STEM coordinator, James DeMoss. And this year in the STEM world, they're really looking at sustainability. So that is an option for middle school students and for high school students to work on. There's not high exposure to other external people, so it's a relatively safe community service project, and it's here on campus. Another thing that we're looking to do is reopen the student-led business here on campus, which is the Snack Shack. And there's an excellent opportunity for middle school students to get involved here again. You can earn community service hours by participating and helping run the Snack Shack that's open during break and lunch. And you also earn a free snack when you're there. So you can kind of tick off community service hours while you're here on campus and earn a free snack while you're working. But we're unsure, like the rollout of the Snack Shack is going to be kind of a slow roll because they have to also determine all of the COVID procedures and protocols. And it is really a student-led business. So students make the decision with the guidance of a faculty supervisor. So those decisions are probably going to roll slowly. And so we'll kind of get the Snack Shack back up and running, but it's going to not potentially be up and running for a little while.
Yeah, that was one I promised. I got asked that question a lot. And Thursday and Friday, I was walking through all the classes and advisories, and I got asked at least 4 times if we were going to have Snack Shack. So I said yes, and I gave them the same answer, but it's going to happen slowly. I see a question that says, how would they get involved with the Blue Butterfly? I think I can answer that one. And Ms. Stroud, you can tell me if I answer it correctly. They would either contact Mr. DeMoss, so he's really approachable. They could go find him. And as he gets ready to launch that, he will be making announcements. So during those morning meetings that we talked about, it'll be announced, advisors will know about it. So the information will be going out. And dare I say, maybe we'll put something in the Friday, weekly Friday announcements that we send out to all of you. So you can be on the lookout as well and to be talking to your kids about that. How was that, Miss Stroud? Was that right? All right, thumbs up. Um, what other, oh, is there a system for after school pickup? Which lane? That's a great question. So this is, as you know, you'll hear me say this a million times. I'm always really straightforward and honest. This was one of the areas the first day of school, my senior leadership team knows I came in after pickup and was like, what just happened out there? We need, first of all, more people. We need a little bit more systems because kids were just going to get in cars. So there's not a system for which lane, but what we are doing now is we're having at least 3 adults out and we're asking that cars pull all the way up to the flagpole as much as possible. So we're only loading close to that flagpole up front. And then the people that are, and we're keeping the kids on the sidewalk, not letting them go down past the middle school gates. And so if we have kids that need to cross over into the second lane, we have an adult that is generally stopping a car, and so that they can go over and get into the second lane. Is there, I'm looking at both Miss Matthews and Miss Stroud to see if there's more to add to that. Okay, I'm seeing no.
I would just say, please be patient with us. We're really trying to protect the kids and keep them safe. And I know if you see your child, you want to pull right up or have them run across the parking lot, but we're trying to keep the kids from doing that. So just be patient with us.
Yeah, I've had a couple of kids that have said, but I had Papa yesterday. My Papa is calling me and they're down by the reach fence wrap. I'm like, oh, you gotta wait. We're gonna pull them up here. So another question is, can kids order 2 main courses for lunch? Yes is the answer. I have seen kids that come and pick up additional lunch, or they have 2 lunches. So yes, they can do that. So yeah. What else would be helpful for people to know? I'm looking, I know because we have our cameras on, so I'm looking at you, Miss Matthews and Miss Stroud. I mean, the opening has been what I would say from somebody that is coming from outside. The opening has been relatively smooth. Students seem really happy and engaged, and everybody's happy to be back on campus. Something that we have layered in this week with our new students is we're having lunchtime meetings where they are not required to go, but they are encouraged to go and interact with everybody. And so they like yesterday was the high schoolers, and we took some of our chairs and we had them in a circle, and our counseling team and myself were out there, and we did a few games and kind of things just to get to know each other, as well as collected some information about things that, you know, how their first couple of days are going. And I think today's lunch is new middle school students, trying to really work on them feeling welcomed and like they have a place in the community. I see a question about, will there be upper school buddies for the middle school kids? That I'm not sure of. What do you think, Ms. Stroud? That seems like something you would know about.
So right now, this Thursday, we're meeting with the National Honor Society, the Associated Student Body, and student ambassadors. And we're really gathering all of those student leaders within our community to partner up and buddy with students. I don't know if we'll buddy upper school students with middle school students. Christina Morris is leading that. I think that we have more upper school students. So we'll in that category in the National Honor Society, ASB, and student ambassadors, but we'll be looking at that system to kind of look at how we can facilitate more inclusion within the community and all of our new students here at school.
Yeah, and I have been so impressed with parents and faculty and a lot of our students as well, just coming up with some really incredible ideas. So keep them coming, keep the questions coming, because it helps us figure out how to best serve everybody, which my team knows I'm talking a lot about making sure that we're serving everybody at a really high level. That's one of the things another thing that drew me in, besides a sense of belonging I felt in this community in terms of the care for how many different types of of individuals or in the community is also this idea that like it's individual and that we can serve people at a really high level in an individualized way. So keep those questions coming and keep those suggestions coming. Next question is, which classes combine middle school prep and Ren? So do we have any classes? I know we do have some of our arts classes and different things like that that I've seen, but I'll let you answer that, Ms. Stroud.
Yeah, largely Renaissance and RHP have separate classes within 5, 6, and 7, but in the 8th grade, we really start to partner classes. So sometimes in PE, and then also within the arts rotation, we start to partner classes. So middle school, RHP and Renaissance start to sort of be combined in those classes. And then in the upper school, we really start to see that middle school and Renaissance and RHP students start to cross-pollinate within classes. Upper school is really where we see a lot of those partnerships happening. But in middle school, it is a little bit separated within the classes.
I think this also would be a really good time to talk about some of the work that we're getting ready to do, both at a board level, but also at a school level. You know, one of the things that we're getting ready to explore is moving into a strategic planning process in the next couple of years. So hopefully launching it next year. And so these are all questions that we're asking ourselves now. So like anything, organizations evolve, right? And so what made sense 5 years, 10 years ago might not be making sense now, or it might be making great sense now. And so what I think from a parent perspective, what you can expect is to start hearing some of these conversations about things like, does it make more sense for us to be combining more in middle school and earlier on? Does it make, what is the high school experience looking like? And is that still making sense in terms of having these two schools? I know that, you know, if you're a Reach parent, some Reach parents are like, is there going to be a high school extension to the Reach program? Because we have kids that are starting to get older that may not go into Ren or RHP. So these are also all reasons why I came into the community. I feel like this coffee, that's the theme of the coffee, why I'm here: belonging, individualization of instruction, and also just helping us figure out like what's next and strategically, you know, what makes the most sense. So I think these are all great questions. Will middle school sports be starting soon, i.e. fall soccer? I actually don't know the answer to fall soccer. I do know cross country is in full swing. I saw them out and running the other day. So middle schoolers are doing that. Does anybody know the answer to middle school soccer, if that is starting soon?
That's a winter sport.
It's a winter, and that starts in November. Boys basketball and soccer start in November.
So what middle school, I guess that would be I'm going to ask my own question. What middle school sports are available? We have cross country is a fall, and I know that our other fall sports are volleyball and football and cheer. Are any of those available to middle schoolers?
So no, right now, the middle school fall sport is cross country. And then in the winter, which will be a November start time, will be boys middle school basketball, and there will also be a soccer team. If you have a middle school girl that wants to play basketball as well, I know there's like a couple of the girls that Harvey Katani has already recruited for the boys basketball team. That's also available. So that's a co-ed sport that girls can sign up as well for basketball in the fall in the winter in November.
Yeah, and I see Monica's question, which is like, thank you, Monica. It says, to the sports question, can we make mandatory per season? I know some of the sports are lacking enough people because kids go elsewhere. Can we make it mandatory? So Coach Katani and I have already been having a lot of discussion about this. It's probably new information to the senior leaders that are sitting in this Zoom. But if you all don't know about me, I love sports. I love the arts, everything that involves a school. And I've seen a lot of different independent school models through one of my former jobs where I was working for a consortium of 63 schools. And I will say there's so many schools that do that, that make sports mandatory. And it also makes for a really robust program. And it's kind of how and I know we've done this here in the past where we've had PE at the end of the day. So Monica, can we do it? We can do anything would be my answer. Are we going to do it? That's the question that I'm already digging into, and have started with Coach Katani, and I have started dreaming big on some things. And so stay tuned on that. And of course, we're not going to make a decision like that without floating some things out into the community. So future coffees, we may have discussions about it. We may do surveys and that sort of stuff. But I like your thinking is what I would say. Let's see. Yeah, so it says during the back to school evening, so the event that we held last Wednesday, we were told that this was by Coach Kanhani, there was going to be a mixed boys co-ed fall soccer, boys and girls middle school fall soccer. I can follow, Sarah, I can follow up with Coach Katani on that, and I'll send an email to you later today. I don't know if maybe he was thinking it was the winter sport and he was just saying fall because his brain was on fall when he was there, or maybe there is a plan to do that, but I can follow up and find that out for you. So I'm going to write your name down in the question and I'll email you later today. Oh, and I see Jennifer saying the same thing, Miss Stroud. Somebody will follow up with you.
Why don't we do in the Friday letter, we'll do a sports update so that all the parents can know what's available.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good. And I see us writing it down, so I know it's going to happen. All of us, we all have, for me, if you ever see me writing down, I always have my sticky notes here. And if you get a sticky note, that means you're going to get an answer to your question. I saw Sue writing it down. And
another thing I'd love to add if about things I think parents would like to know is, you see us out here in the morning if you drop off, and we're all out there ready to take the kids in and keep them safe. And we do the School Pass app on all the students' phones or the parents' phones. So if we have an awful lot of kids who still aren't signed up, so if they don't have their own phone, then when the parents drop off, you just have to show the green check that their wellness screening is good to go and they can come to school. If they do have their own phone or iPad, please have them download the School Pass app, set it up. It's really easy. Every morning while they're driving in, they just answer a couple questions and they show us the green check and they can move quickly into school. Again, it's only day 4, so it's going to take us a little bit, but just letting you know that it would be great when you drop them off to have that ready. Yeah, if you have any questions about that, we can get you more information, but all the advisors are talking to the kids about it. We've been giving them the QR code relentlessly.
Yeah. I also see that we're asking questions about sports and whether you can propose sports. I would say that you can always propose sports. It's going to be based on interest. We also do budget a year in advance, so paying for coaches and the equipment that some sports would need and stuff like that. And so sometimes there's a longer runway if it's like, okay, we want to have a swimming or water polo team. I'll take the examples you put in there. That might be something we have to plan around, or it might be something, if we have a large group of kids that are really interested in something, we could get going quicker. So I would say the very short answer is yes, you can always propose sports, but whether we can actually make them go in a quick amount of time is the one that might take a little bit of work, especially if it's something that we want to do competitively, because there are rules for what we have to do and how we have to sign up. Like we had to, with cross country, we had to have our rosters in a certain amount of time. So it takes a little bit of planning, but I'm always a pretty big yes person when it comes to really clubs, sports, performing arts. If we have interest, I'm going to try to help support the students within reason, to try to get things done. And sometimes it just might take a little longer than others. It's it's 9:05, and so I'm going to do what I do a lot. If you're somebody that's been listening and you're feel like you have gotten your answers, I'm going to give you full, like, don't feel bad if you want to drop off of the Zoom. One thing I do want to say is that we do have back to school night tomorrow evening. It starts at 5 p.m. It is online, so it's a Zoom event. You should be getting information. I was in an advisory this morning, and students were finishing their schedules up that they're sharing with parents, so you know where to go and different things, but would love to see all of you at that event. And if you don't have any other questions, oh wait, there's another question about PTA. But if you're somebody who feels like you are ready to leave, you don't ever feel bad about leaving, and we'll stay here and answer questions as long as we have them. So the question is there a parent association like a PTA that parents participate in? And Miss Matthews, I'm going to let you take that one.
Yeah, for sure. And also I heard back from Harvey about the middle school co-ed soccer, and he is planning it. And if we get enough, he wants to continue it into winter. But he did agree that let's do a Friday letter update on all sports available, and that way all the parents can see it. So we will do that. We've had a parents association here for a long time. We took a bit of a pause or a step back during COVID only because our campus has been closed and we haven't really had any in-person events and all of that. So we're reassessing the parent association structure and thinking about a family association structure. But yes, every parent will be able to be involved, every guardian, and we'll have more information on that soon. But because we're still closed, there's not a whole heck of a lot to do on campus, but there'll certainly be things to do remotely, grade level parents, and things like that. So I'll talk to you more, Stephanie. I wrote your name down. I'll talk to you more about ways you can get involved while we're still apart.
So for those of you that are still with us, I'm curious if for future, we will always do COVID updates and things at these parent coffees, but I'm curious if you could just pop into the chat any future topics that you would like us to, and is there anybody on campus you'd like us to invite into these coffees? I'd like to start, having guest speakers. So for example, with all these sports questions, I was like, oh, we should invite Harvey Katani to a coffee where he could talk a little bit about athletics and then field some of your questions about athletics. And so if you could just take a minute to think about campus, think about who we have here, and if there are any either topics or people that you would love to see featured at a parent coffee, that would be great. I know we already have the idea of breaking out coffees with specific schools. So I know maybe do a parent coffee for Wren, a parent coffee for RHP, a Reach family parent coffee. So yeah, but if you can just take a minute and pop in any topics or people that you might want to see come into future coffees, that would be great. And don't everybody answer at once. Oh, good. Outdoor, nice. Outdoor ed, extra academic, recreational, nice. Yeah, sometimes the kids don't bring that info home. So this is a great place. Yeah, Carrie, I have a 20-year-old, a 18-year-old, and a 16-year-old. And yeah, once they hit about like really middle school, they don't bring as much home anymore. So I love it. College advisors. Oh yeah, that would be a good idea. Maybe even having Bernie come in and do a parent coffee. Yep. That's a great one, Stephanie. Yep. Jan, discussing the family or parent group once it's finalized here, or maybe even bouncing some ideas off of all of you. Since you all are involved and are coming to the parent coffee, it might be a good place for us to get some information. Thank you. These are great. Would you all be interested? Sorry, now I'm just using you as a sounding board. Would you be interested in doing like having different teachers come in and talk about some of the things?
Yeah, I just saw that pop up in the chat.
Yeah. Given the restrictions, it would be great to have it. Oh, that's so funny. I must have sensed that was coming because I was like, I was just thinking it would be really fun to have. Yeah, great. Yes. Good. Introduce class parent. Oh, that's a good one too, Jan. Introduce class parent representatives here so we know who they are rather than emails. Nice. I like that one as well.
And Sue, we are planning grade level, aside from the 3 school connections, we're planning grade level Zooms for now. Hopefully we can see each other in person in the spring or soon. For each grade, we'll get together and we'll have that information too soon. And some of the outdoor ed, a lot of the outdoor ed conversations will happen at those. So you can ask a ton of questions.
Thank you all for these good ideas. These are great. Are there any more questions that you would like to know about program? You have, for those of you that don't know, Sue Matthews is our associate head of school. So she kind of oversees a lot of different things and is here when if I'm off campus. And she also is our director of advancement, so development work. That's why she's talking about the parent association. She works with our director of communications. And then Ms. Stroud is our interim director of schools. So she's really like with Ren and RHP, she's the programmatic director. Yeah. Ooh, here's a good question. What support do students receive in choosing a college that meets individual needs? And I see you nodding your head, Ms. Stroud, so I'm going to let you take it over.
So we have a really robust college counseling team. So they start to meet with students at the end of their 9th grade year, or if you kind of reverse plan and you look at a year, college counseling first meets with 12th graders to get their applications in and set, and then they meet heavily with 11th graders after that, and then sophomores, and then 9th graders throughout every academic school year. And we have a couple different college events that happen every single year, including, a more selective college night, a learning differences symposium college night that speaks to all sorts of different colleges that offer learning supports within their programming, and then a case studies night. And if you look at your emails from Bernie Diment and Caitlin Castanilla, they'll continually kind of send out emails, and they meet with families individually as well to provide that sort of one-to-one service so that students really get placed in the right fit school for them after their high school years. So it's a lot of dialogue between you as a family and the college counseling team. I highly recommend that you attend all of those college nights. Those are really, really informative. And they have a wide range of college representatives so that you start to think about what is the right fit college for my child in their post-secondary work.
Thanks, Ms. Stroud. As a new family to Ren, these Zooms have been very helpful and informative. Oh, thanks, Judy. I'm glad. That's the purpose. We want people to feel like they're getting the information they need. You know, we do call these COVID coffees just because we recognize things are going to change moment by moment with COVID. So we want to have one space every week where people know they can come in. And you're right. The other purpose of these is one space where you can come in and ask these questions. Would like to know if there's any music instrument performance band. Ms. Stroud, do you want to take that one as well? The music performance band?
Yes. So we offer courses called Applied Music within the regular block schedule. If that doesn't fit within your child's schedule, we also offer 2 other opportunities for you or for your children to get involved in band. So there's a garage band that meets, and that's more like rock, pop, kind of contemporary music, and those meet during the X and Y periods. And there's more information coming at back to school night. You can hear some more information about that. And then there's also choir and symphonic band that meet in those X and Y periods. So there'll be like a short presentation of those at the beginning of back to school night tomorrow night. And those again happen in those X and Y blocks, which are really kind of like miscellaneous blocks, but they get a whole lot of things piled in, and those courses end up being a part of those blocks. Those aren't courses that are offered for credit in the X and Y, but they are ways that you can play music, be a part of performing arts, and I actually really love all of those musical performances that end up coming out in our coffee houses that we have several times a year. So look for that information at the top of the evening tomorrow night, and then you can be in contact with the Visual and Performing Arts Chair, Sam Robinson, or Mr. Tanner that also teaches the music classes.
Profe Pfeiffer.
Profe Pfeiffer.
Amazing. I saw him with some students singing by the koi pond yesterday, so I just sat with them. It was amazing. There's a question from Sue. Is the music option optional?
The music option is optional. It's like by choice. And there's also the option for kids to audition for the musical that happens in the spring. But yes, it is optional. In middle school, since I see this as a middle school parent, it is, they actually also have a music arts rotation. So in the middle school, they have three different arts rotations. So they'll take one trimester of music, one trimester of drama, and one trimester of visual and performing arts. So they will have exposure to music within a trimester if you're in middle school. That's a part of their regular schedule within the week. And that one is not optional.
So as I see people starting to drop off, I'm going to call things to a close. And one reminder beyond just the back to school night tomorrow is that we have next Monday and Tuesday off. For Labor Day and then Rosh Hashanah. So just know that this is a 4-day weekend coming up. And so your students will have a full week this week, and then they won't return to campus until a week from tomorrow, to Wednesday, to celebrate the holidays. And Stephanie asked a great question. When there's no school on Monday, i.e. Labor Day, does the schedule update the rest of the week?
So there are times in which the schedule has been adjusted so that we can recoup some of those. Our Monday classes ended up getting hit pretty hard. So when I went through the schedule this year, I counted every single time each block met. And then there's a couple days in which there's an adjusted schedule on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday to recoup some of those classes. But we'll inform you within those advisory emails that you see and the weekly bulletin. So the Friday letter, those will come out. And so you'll be informed about those ahead of time if there's an adjusted schedule coming up. It only happens, I think, 3 times this year. So not a very frequent occurrence, but it does happen 3 times.
And one of the things I guess I'll close by saying, I really love the team I'm working with. I mean, all the way from the teaching faculty and staff, all the way up to the senior leadership team. And one of the reasons why I love my team so much and the team here on campus is that we all have our strengths. And that is Ms. Stroud's strength right there that you just heard. She spends an inordinate amount of time going through the schedule and back through the schedule. And when we're sitting in senior leadership team and we have a question about schedule, she's able to say, well, here's what that does if we shift this block, and here are the number of times that block meets. And so when she says that she goes through the schedule and makes sure that everything is pretty equitable, she really does. And that's a great strength to have on a team. So I'm really appreciative of that. And I'm appreciative of all of you for showing up today. We will be back here same time, same place next Tuesday. Bring your coffee, bring your questions. You can submit them in advance if you want. Or not, you can, as you see, we are happy to answer them as they come up. And I hope you all enjoy your Tuesdays, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in Zoom again tomorrow night at our back to school night. Have a great day, everyone.